Okay, and we're going to come to start today. We're actually going to come and be on our knees. We're going to take a kneeling position, and you could choose to be flat on your feet like this, but I recommend actually starting with your toes flexed, your toes pressed into the ground. And I'll move you away from that, but just to start, it is this really deep stretch through the feet. So you can come and rest your hands. Let's rest the left hand down on our lap and the right hand right on top of the left hand. And you can gently bring the two thumbs together to touch. And just rest the hands here. And close the eyes. And let's just stop for a moment here. Let's just pause everything. Pause the week. Pause the day. See if there's anything that's right there. Like, do I really have time to practice today? Do I really have time for this? And just breathe it out. Just let it go. Notice your breath. Notice your breath moving without changing your breath. Notice your posture. Feel your head stacking right on top of the chest, and the chest right on top of the pelvis. And let's uncurl the toes. Come to sit flat on the feet. Open up the feet one way. Now we can open up the front of the ankles. We're going to play with this idea throughout the course of the sequence today, this idea of flexing the joints and extending the joints. So we all are spending a lot of time seated right now. It's probably the opening statement of hundreds of yoga classes every day, is that we are all spending a lot of time seated right now. And the ends to which we are flexing our hip flexors as opposed to extending our hip flexors now compared to how we used to move before this time last year is a world of difference, the likes of which we just have no clue. We just have no idea how different the way we used to move our bodies is compared to today. So we might make some efforts here and there, and the reality is that our joints are likely tighter than they've ever been. So we're just going to play with that today. We're just going to play with flexing and extension. We're going to play with lubricating the joints, especially the hips and the shoulders. And as with any of our practices, I'd like you to take a moment now to just consider how exploring that kind of balance between flexion and extension, or exploring bringing lubrication to the joints, how that could support you in what you're up to in your day-to-day life. Like, really, what are you up to right now? And how might exploring this here on the mat for this practice, for this time, how might exploring that benefit you overall in your life? What is practicing about for you today? Let yourself make that real. And let yourself bring that with you as we move through our different shapes today. You can come to release this mudra in your hands. And let's actually we'll stay right here on the front of our ankles like this. And let's just take the left fingertips down to the floor, reaching that left shoulder away from the ear. Inhale, reach the right arm straight up and overhead. Take a deep breath in, and exhale, take this kind of half moon position over to the left. Keep rooting the right hip down and keeping the right arm in line with the ear. See if you can keep the spine neutral, front to back, not rounding forward or opening too far to the back. Keep it neutral, front to back, as you stretch over and bend it over to the left side. Take a couple more breaths here. And then inhale to lift up and exhale to release that arm. We'll take the same thing on the other side. So the right fingertips press down. Inhale and reach the left arm straight up, and exhale. Take this stretch over to the right, this kind of half moon stretch. Keeping the arm in line with the ear, keeping the head, chest, and pelvis mainly tracking with one another, just like we did seated upright, but creating this candy cane bend in the spine. One more breath. Good. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, release that left hand down. Let's walk the fingers out in front of us and start to lift up off of our heels. And we're going to lift up and start to walk back into our first downward facing dog of the practice. So you're going to walk your feet back pretty far and find your downward dog stance and start to pedal the feet right away here. Imagine that your hands are like the hands of a sticky amphibian, like a frog. Like you can create suction cups with your hands. And as you do that, don't ease up on pressing down through the space between your index finger and your thumb. And let's explore some deep movement here with this foot pedal. So we talked about lubricating the joints. Let's really explore taking deep bends in the knees and pressing into each hip as you pedal through the feet. So really creating lots of opportunity for lubrication through the ankles, through the knees, and through the hips. Good. And then let's look forward to the hands. Walk forward to the hands. Come and find a forward fold. And let's work this shape. So I want you to grab whatever you have access to here. So if that's your ankles, then you grab your ankles and you pull yourself down. If that's your toes, you can grab your toes or your heels. find something you can hold on to. If that's your calves or even the bottoms of your thighs, whatever you can grab. And let's work. Let's all rock the weight of the body forward on the foot. Feel the sitting bones reaching up to the ceiling. Extend the spine over the legs. Lengthen the spine. Point the crown of the head toward the floor and reach with the crown of the head down in that direction. And then pull yourself in, initiating a nice deep stretch through the backs of the legs. Good. On an inhale, lift up to a flat back. On an exhale, fold forward over the legs. On an inhale, lift to your fingertips on the floor, flat back here. And then on your exhale, pressing your hands down into the ground, walk back to your downward facing dog. Again, let's pedal through the feet. If you have an Ujjayi breath practice, please start it now. And just maintain that gentle ocean breath throughout the rest of the practice. If you lose it, you go away from it, it's okay, just come back. And find some stillness in a downward dog shape here. And then on an inhale, let's look forward to the hands and walk forward to the hands. Walk your feet right underneath your hips. You're in a forward fold here. Inhale, lift up to a flat back, palms to shins. And exhale, fold forward over the legs even more deeply. Then let's release the weight of the body over the legs. Bend nice and deeply through the knees. Let go the head, neck, and chest. And start to roll up the spine, one vertebra at a time. Coming up, stand at the top of your mat. Nice, long spine. Good. Very good. All right, so feet are right underneath the hips. Let's inhale and exhale. Take the hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, fold forward through a flat back, reaching down for the floor. Inhale, lift up to flat back, palms to shins. Exhale, fold even more deeply over the legs. And on an inhale, lift up to fingertips and step the right foot back behind you, way back, lower the knee. Inhale, lift up, interlace your fingers and press into the left leg. So here we go. This opposing motion to the flexion that we do all day. We're going to really work the front of the hip here. So first, right here, just like this, find a point of focus before you and breathe into this stretch. Good. On an inhale, let's lift up out of the hips, extend the front leg. Exhale, sit back into the hip. Inhale, reach the arms up. This should give you a little bit deeper stretch here. Maybe you take a teeny back bend. Good. Inhale, lift up out of the hips, extend that front leg. Exhale, come back into the hips. Coming back into this lunge. And now let's take both hands down to the mat on the inside of the left leg. And we're going to step the left leg out a little bit further here. So this is coming toward a lizard pose. And it's fine to just be here, but you could also start to explore some other options. You can tuck the back toes and lift the back knee up off the ground, and you can kind of rock forward and back. You could make circles here. Just check in and see what feels good for your body. You could also, with the lifted knee, start to explore coming down toward your elbows, or you could lower the knee, start to explore coming down to your elbows. Just play in this lizard pose for yourself here. Starting right away to open up through the groin in a way that should feel not a lot like how sitting around all day feels. And you want to think of motion as lotion. So if you start to feel uncomfortable or tightening in the body, just move around a little bit in this shape. All right, now let's lift up out of the hips again. Step that foot back to be in line with your hip. Come back into your low lunge. Set the hands back down onto the mat on either side of the foot. Now we're going to step back to a plank position here. Let's hold our plank position for just a moment. And then exhale, lower knees, chest, and chin. Inhale here. Exhale, press yourself up to what starts to be your full cobra right now. Don't hurt the back. Just find your full extension here. And let's breathe into this shape. Make sure to create a lot of length through the cervical spine. So we're not cocking the head back in any way. We're keeping integrity through the neck. And then let's lower the upper body down. Let's take the hands further out to the side. And again, we'll lift up. Now lifted up here, let's press the left shoulder down. So here again, we have this motion that really opposes the kind of rounding forward that happens when we sit at a desk. And breathe into that stretch in the left shoulder. Good, now let's inhale to lift up and take the same thing on the opposite side, pressing the right shoulder down. Good. Let's inhale back to center. Exhale, lower your body down. Come and find a Sphinx pose. So your elbows come right underneath your shoulders and your hands actually press into the ground. And then let's press into the hands and lift the elbows off the ground. And press consciously, press the shoulders away from the ears. And then start to walk the hands back. Find something that feels good for you here. Engage the abdominal wall as you extend and lengthen through the spine. And then let's take the right ear to the right shoulder. Lift back up. Left ear to the left shoulder. Lift back up. Take a nice deep twist, glancing over the right shoulder. back to center. Deep twist, glancing over the left shoulder, twisting through the neck, this is. And back to center. And then let's walk the hands back forward, coming through our first experience of Sphinx pose, lowering the elbows and just rock the hips back and forth, side to side, creating some lubrication here through the lower back. Good, and let's lower all the way down here. Bring your hands to be in line with your armpits. Inhale, lift up to your cobra once again. Exhale, press back through a child's pose. Flip the toes and find a downward facing dog. Find a downward facing dog that feels good for you. Let's hold here for at least 3 full breaths, 3 full cycles of breath. And if it feels better for you to keep it moving, you go ahead and do that. And either after your third breath or after your next breath, inhale, look forward to the hands, and starting on an exhale, walk the feet up to meet the hands, walking the feet so they're directly under the hips. Inhale, lift up to a flat back. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. Let's release here, letting go the weight of the upper body onto the legs, bending the knees nice and deeply. And then slowly roll up the spine, bringing motion and lubrication to the vertebra. Coming to stand at the top of the mat, we can turn our palms to face the wall in front of us, feeling that openness in the chest. Take a deep breath in. On an exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, dive forward through your flat back, reaching down for the floor. Inhale, lift up to the flat back, palms to shins. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, lift up to fingertips in a tented position. And exhale, let's step the left leg all the way back, lower the knee. Inhale, lift up, interlace your fingers, press into the right leg here. Opening up through the left side now. Find a point of focus on the wall in front of you that you can gaze into. And just explore opening this left hip here. Very good. On an inhale, lift up out of the hips, extending the front leg. And on an exhale, coming back to find this deep, low lunge position. And on an inhale, reaching both arms up, giving yourself a tiny back bend here, just facilitating that deeper opening through the left side. On an inhale, lifting up out of the hips, straightening that front leg. And on an exhale, coming forward and bringing the hands to the inside of that front leg. And then walking that front foot out over to the side a little bit more, starting to explore lizard pose. So lizard pose here. Here is fine. You could also tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. You could also start to explore coming down onto your elbows. You're looking for somewhere that feels good, feels challenging, creates a needed opening. And just think about that, a needed opening. Not just any opening, but an opening that actually serves a purpose for you. Good, and let's lower that back knee. Let's walk the foot back to center. Take the right hand to the outside of the right foot. Inhale, lift up and press one last time into this low lunge. And then the hands can come to the ground and we can step back to a plank position. Hold this plank for just a moment here. And then let's lower knees, chest, chin. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, press forward. Maybe inhale here to lift up, finding lots of length and shape through your cobra. Exhale, sit back into a child's pose, and let's open up the hips, open up the knees so you can really stretch here in your child's pose. Maybe your forehead comes to the ground. Maybe your hips can actually sit back onto your heels. If not, keep working in that direction. Good, now let's lift up out of our child's pose. Bring the knees together to touch, and let's start to explore coming into a puppy pose. So right here, we're gonna keep the hips lifted. We're gonna start to walk the hands forward and reach the elbows down to the ground. And maybe we can get here. Maybe we can rest our chin or our chest down onto the floor. Wherever you are here, just breathe into this shape. Good, and start to lift up and walk the hands back, and just back far enough where you could lift your knees and come and find your downward facing dog. Right here in downward dog, let's point the right foot back behind us and lift that leg straight up. Big extension in the leg. Just be here a moment. And then open up the leg and be here a moment. And then bend the knee and be here a moment. And now we're going to step the foot to the outside of the right hands, coming back toward that lizard pose we were in before. And we'll lower the back knee. We'll keep the left hand where it is, but we're going to just gently press the right knee open. Now, you might want to come up off of the inner edge of the right foot here. You might want to keep it down and have this be very gentle. Whatever feels good, whatever's available to you. And you can see I'm kind of lazily rocking into my left side, which is fine to do, but don't totally collapse into the shoulder. Keep your shoulder engaged here. And then release that work on the right leg And see if you can, it's going to be hard to see from where you are, bend the back leg and see if you can reach around and grab the outer edge of the back foot. You don't have to pull that foot in, just see if you can make contact. If you can't make contact, still do that work of bending the leg to access the deeper opening through your left side. Good, and then release that. Bring your right hand down to the floor. Step the right foot back, find your plank position. Press back to downward facing dog. Point the left foot, lift the left foot up for three-legged dog. Feel that extension through the leg. Then let's open up the hip. Feel the extension here. Then let's bend the knee. Feel the extension here. Good. Let's bring the knee forward, step the foot to the outside of the left hand, drop the back knee coming back into our lizard shape. And right away here, we're coming up onto the right hand and pressing the left knee open with the left hand coming up off of the inner edge of that foot. Breathing into this opening in the leg. Good. Now you can release that work on the left side, and we're going to bend the back leg and reach around for the outer edge of the back foot, seeing if we can, whatever we can do. Make contact, just reach and get it so that you can open more deeply into the right hip, which is fully extended here. Good. Let's release that back foot. Bring the left hand to the inside of the left foot, and let's step the left foot back to your plank position. Press up and back to your downward facing dog. Be here a moment, pressing the chest back toward the thighs, creating length through the spine. And then let's lower the knees. Come and rest in a child's pose, whatever child's pose shape feels good for you here. And return to the breath. Let's reach the arms nice and long, and let's come and lift up back into our downward facing dog position. And again, we're going to look forward to the hands and walk the feet forward to the hands, walking the feet directly under the hips, and we'll release over the legs, letting go the weight of the upper body. And then on an inhale, slowly start to roll up the spine, coming to a standing position right at the top of your mat and turning the palms to face the wall in front of you. Good. On an inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, and exhale, sit back into your chair position. Then as you lift up, you're going to lift to stand on the left leg, interlace the fingers, bring the right knee up into the chest. So first, just directly into the chest. It'll be helpful to find a point of focus in front of you, a drishti point, to hold you steady. And right here, let's move the leg to the armpit and pull the knee into the inner armpit. Then let's come back to center. Then let's hold the outside of the leg and stretch the leg across as if you were going to connect it to the left armpit. Then back to center. Then let's release the leg, keep the knee bent, send the foot back behind you, and just reach for that foot with both hands and stretch through your quad here. Now really feeling yourself rooting into the left foot, finding some stability. We're going to move into a dancer pose, Natarajasana. So taking the inside of the right foot, the left arm reaches straight up and overhead and start to kick back into your dancer pose here. Good. Inhale, lift back up to stand. Exhale, release everything. Back to your mountain pose. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, sit back into your chair position. Inhale, lift the left leg up this time and interlace your fingers around the left knee, pulling the knee up to the center of the chest, centered for this joint, so in line with the hip. And we're squeezing here, and then let's move it to the inner armpit and squeeze there, off on an angle, opening the hip in a very different way. And then coming back to center. And then with the right hand to the outside of the right leg, the right hand to the outside of the left leg, gently pulling the leg across as if you could touch knee to right armpit. And then come back to center, give it a little squeeze. Keep the knee bent, now sending the foot back behind you, reach back behind you for the foot, and let's just get a good quad stretch here. Really good place in this sequence to find your footing on the right side, find your stability, find your drishti point, your point of focus that's unmoving before you. And then let's take the hand to the inside of the left foot, reach the right arm straight up and overhead and start to come into your dancer pose, your Natarajasana. Good. On an inhale, lifting back to stand, and exhale, let everything go. On an inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, and exhale, sit back into your chair position. Inhale, lift the right leg with you, and let's cross that right leg right over the left leg. If you have a double bind here, you can wrap the foot around another time. Go ahead and take that. Let's take the hands to heart center here. So non-traditional eagle hands. I'm going to take a deep breath in, and on an exhale, we're going to reach the left elbow to the right knee and see if we can get a little bit of a twist in here. Maintaining your balance. And then on an inhale, come back up to center. Exhale. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower the leg. Release the arms, release everything. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, sit back into your chair position. Inhale, lifting the left leg to cross the left leg over the right leg this time, and taking the hands to heart center, this non-traditional eagle pose. It's a simpler version. Lets us focus on the work in the inner thighs and the twist. So on an inhale, lengthen the spine, and on an exhale, reach that right elbow for the left knee, just above the left knee. Pressing into the leg, see if you can take a gentle twist to the left side. Good. On an inhale, come back to center and exhale. Inhale, lift to stand, bring the knee with you. Exhale, release the leg, release everything. Take a deep breath in here and exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, and exhale, dive forward through your flat back, reaching down for the floor. Inhale, lift to a flat back, palms to shins, and exhale, bring the hands down to the floor. We're going to step the feet back a little bit, maybe 2.5 feet, and we're going to come back down onto our knees. Let's have the toes curled first. Toes curled first, sitting on our heels. And let's take that same, I'm going to call it Buddha mudra. That's not the name of the mudra, but it is a Buddhist mudra. So we're going to take the left hand down to the palm, right hand on top, and join the thumbs together. And if at any point over the course of the practice you've lost your Ujjayi breath, you can start to initiate it again here. We're just going to take a few minutes for some deep breathing. So if you're new to Ujjayi breath, see if I can give this to you. It sounds like this. It's accomplished by pinching the top of the nasal passage in the back of the throat, where you take your air in like you would if you were sucking through a closed straw. It allows you to suck air in quite strongly and even get a little extra air. We can now flip the toes. Sit back on the tops of the feet here. And let's spend a few minutes breathing with Ujjayi breath and practice an extended exhalation here, consciously creating a longer exhalation than inhalation. And it might be helpful for you as you practice this breath to use a counting system so that you find the length of your natural inhale. You find the length of your natural exhale, and you extend the length of your exhale to be 1 or 2 beats longer than your inhale. bring your attention to your breath as you practice. Focus on having a steady stream of air move in and out of your nose. And this will allow you to develop concentration. And after your next exhale, you can release this practice and return to a normal breath. And we're going to start to explore a hero's pose. It'll be our final pose for the day. It could be considered our peak posture for today, even though it's much more restful than some of our usual peak postures, but it's a very challenging pose. So don't be fooled. Come up onto your knees here, and we're going to separate the feet wide apart, bringing the knees together. If you have any knee injuries, you may want a pillow or a block for your bottom. And there are levels to this shape. So if I go too far for you, you stop where you start to feel uncomfortable. Now we're going to come back, and if possible, we're going to sit between our heels. Now you can see I'm pulling the flesh of my knees forward. That relieves pressure on the knees. And we'll see if I even have this in my practice today. Just do. You can also press the calf flesh out. Push your calf flesh out. This will allow your body to move down toward the floor. And if there's a need, you can either sit on a block, sit on a couple of pillows stacked, or you can sit on your feet. And a great way of sitting on your feet and still experiencing this is by having your feet stacked on top of one another with your heels pressing apart. This will open your legs in not as deep a way, but the same way. So I have my foot resting on the ball of my opposite foot and the heels moving away, and then I'm looking to sit between the heels. All right, whatever variation you're taking. First, just sit up in this shape. Sit up. If you can't sit up, you need support. Then take your hands back behind you and see if you can come back onto your elbows. And this may be where you stay. If your elbows aren't available to you, you can just lean back as far back as is comfortable, engaging that funny opening through your legs, that unusual opening through your legs. If you have your elbows down, maybe you're here for a while. Maybe you start to explore reaching the head down and the arms overhead. But the elbows down are fine. If you want your elbows down and you want to relax your head back behind you, that's fine. Just find something that lets you open through the fronts of the legs and breathe. Just a couple more breaths here. And then you'll come up out of this the same way that you came in. So if you went down to your elbows first, and you're coming back to sit, and then we're gonna come up, back forward onto the knees first, then the hands, and we'll extend one leg, right leg first. Just let the knee return to a neutral space here. Set that knee back down, take the left leg back. The knee return to a neutral state. Set the leg back down. Let's sit back onto our bottoms. Send the feet straight out in front of us. And we'll come to lie on our backs, finding a final Shavasana. Legs can release out to the side. Arms can release out to your sides. Palms turn to face the ceiling. And you can completely relax. Letting go the weight of the head, the weight of the neck and shoulders. Feeling the legs and feet completely relax. The weight of the arms loose and limp. And just rest. And as we near our 6 p.m., the end of our time together here, you can check in with yourself and see if you'd like to stay in this resting state or if you'd like to wrap up at this time. And if you want to, you can start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, wiggle, wiggle, to start to wake back up and come back to the room, or you can stay exactly where you are. When you're ready, as you're ready, you can bring your knees into your chest, roll over to one side, and press yourself up to a seated position, unless, of course, you're staying where you are, in which case, just enjoy. you're choosing to do. I salute you, honor you for practicing today, and for everything that you do day to day. It takes something just to wake up. That we do anything, it's a miracle. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste. Have a great weekend, yogis. Bye-bye.